Welcome, everybody, back to True Crime Astrology. My name is Leslie. I am so happy that you're here. I am so excited that you guys are stopping by, hanging out with me for a little bit so you guys can hear about murder cases and astrology at the same time. And I also go into meditation at times. We are still trying to figure out the setup here. I have this beautiful new microphone. It's my sisters and I's, and because we got some good stuff in store for y'all. But anyways, I just really want to, before I get started, I want to thank everybody. I reached 100 subscribers, over 100 subscribers, and I just want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you so much. You know what? You guys mean the world to me, and I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. And we got this setup going on, so we're trying it out. And without further ado, let's get started. So in this episode of True Crime Astrology, we are going to dive in deeper into the search of the Watts home when the morning of August 13th, 2018. And I want to really dive into the astrology behind it this time, because I realized that I wasn't doing enough of the astrology. So let's get started. We're going to dive in with Chris. We're going to really check out his chart. And so, excuse me, as you all know, Chris Watts, I don't know what is up with that guy. He is this case isn't famous for no reason, he really is a breed of his own. And so, he, as you all know, he's a Scorpio rising. He is a Taurus sun and an Aries moon conjunct Black Moon Lilith in Aries in the 6th house. All right. So I will explain what that means. So basically, Chris has Taurus in the 7th house, so that's the house of relationships, okay? And then in the house of relationships, he also shares North Node with Taurus. And just beneath the descendant, you have Mercury in Taurus. And so I really want to talk about Mercury and Taurus. Mercury and Taurus, people generally make sense. They generally do make sense. And maybe this is why everybody was just caught off guard, oh my God, what is going on? Why is he not making any sense? Well, let me give you my analysis. Okay. So Mercury and Taurus, let me explain what Mercury is. Mercury is all about brain activity, your communication. It can mean electronics, it can mean any of those sort of things. But most importantly, it's communication. It's how you talk with people, and how you come off with people when you're talking. And so with Mercury and Taurus, they usually make sense, and they need time to really process and think about what they're going to say and what they're going to do. Because if what happened with Chris, he didn't have time to think about what he was going to say. He didn't have time to think about I'm really going to have to come up with a real story. And he would have. He would have totally came up with a different story, with a story that fit. He would have, and then made it fit completely. But he didn't have time to prepare or think, because he was caught off guard, because the best friend, showed up at the house and was trying to get a hold of him And he was like, okay, so in his mind, he was like, okay, she's not there, right? She's not there. Go away. No one's home. They're not answering. She's with a friend. She's with a friend. She's with a friend. Okay. He told everybody that. So the friends are like, okay, cool. Like, yay, she's with a friend. What friend? Because, she wasn't feeling well. She wasn't, she had an appointment with her doctor this morning that she did not show up to. And so, like, he didn't have time to process all of that. I don't even think he knew that Shanann had an appointment that morning, for their baby, to hear the heartbeat, for the, to make sure everything was fine. And I don't think it was the first time she heard the heartbeat, but I think like they were going to see the baby and all that. Anyways, so the friend's like, okay, so, like, where is she? Because she needed help with the little girls, and she wasn't feeling well. Like, what friend? Like, tell me what friend. Is she okay? That's all she wanted to know. He couldn't answer that because he didn't have time to prepare. He did not have time to prepare. By the time he knew it, the cops were called. They came. They were like going around the house, like knocking, furiously knocking, trying to get some kind of response, because like it was completely strange. And so anyways, let me see. And I also went into a little bit of meditation when I was trying to prepare for this episode. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but not a lot. I mainly want to talk about the 6th house and the cusp with the 7th house, and then Uranus squaring Mars in Gemini. All right, so he also had Black Moon Lilith in the 6th house in Aries, okay, at 29 degrees. That is like such a critical degree when it comes to Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, and especially in the 6th house in such final degrees, then like that means that it's in the descendant. So it's and in Aries, like he acts quickly, and then of course he would have like affairs at work, right? Or an affair, a really steamy affair that would lead for him to make such a ugly black decision, like a horrible dark decision in true Black Moon Lilith style, and so let me see what else. Also, when it comes to Mars, his Mars placement, it's in the 8th house. And so Mars in the 8th house, in the house of death, in the house in the zodiac of Gemini, like, do I need to remind you guys who had Mars in Gemini? And I don't want to generalize an entire like placement, but like in this case, right, when this type of thing happens, like it makes sense to look at that, because Mars in Gemini, like, you will make a spontaneous decision, like, and then in the house of death, so he didn't even, like, it could have gone either way. His passion, aggression, like his action, his taking action could have gone in another way. Like, he could have decided, like, if he wanted to really work it out and all that, he would have decided and fought for that. But he didn't. He chose to not even hear her talk, not even hear her speak, and just killed her. So, I didn't even tell you guys who had Mars in Gemini. O.J. Simpson. or has Mars in Gemini. So just throwing it out there. Let's see what else. Well, I mean, I've already talked to you guys about his first house in Scorpio. Like, I don't think I really went into that much depth into it, but they're really mysterious. Like, you don't really know what Scorpio rising is thinking. Like, they might be thinking something completely different and tricking you, right? He also has Saturn in the first house in Scorpio. So Saturn in the first house in Scorpio he is going to, like I told you guys before, he is carrying this burden for the rest of his life. It's like the cross he must bear. And I think there was a lot that he hid. And that he didn't want people to know, even stemming from childhood. Like, I really wonder, like, what happened that you never told anybody that made you so angry, and I'm just, this is just my opinion, okay, you guys? Like, this is for entertainment purposes only, and please don't come after me. This is just my opinion. I mean, there are other YouTubers that if they have better information, I'm just a small YouTuber here. So let me see what else. So yeah, like, gosh, I don't know why, because also, like, that is carrying the sins of the father. Like, what did his dad do also? Because, like, because in this particular placement, it's kind of like he's carrying some kind of, like, burden that has to do with his dad. And let's see what else. So that's interesting. I'm not sure if he ever told anybody. He's not going to admit to much, Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Let me talk about the meditation that I went into. Okay, so, excuse me. When police searched the home, they asked him about his work schedule just to make sure, that they had gotten all the information possible from him. And he tells them all about his work. He tells them his hours. And, I do 8 to, or I don't know, 6 and 1 or something like that. Like, I'll work straight these many days and then I'm off these many days. And so he has an answer for everything. Again, Mercury and Taurus, very calculated, knowing what they want to disclose, and trying to make himself very believable. So he's very open, and he's like, oh yeah, I work like da 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 da, like so many days, and then I have off these many days. So next week it's supposed to be this, and they're like, okay, great, but okay, so your kids and your wife, like, okay, wait, let's go back, and then they keep asking. If you guys watch the footage, they keep asking him. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to clear my throat. It's very windy here today, and the dust is just getting in my lungs and my vocal cords. I do apologize. So anyways, if you guys watch the footage, like, he's just like trying to just derail like the entire investigation. So, like, if he would have had time to prepare and come up with his story straight, I don't know if we would have ever found the girls, right? Or Shanann. So, oh yeah, and then he tries so hard to stay out of the home. like when the other cops get there and they're like, okay, well, we got to search the home. He's like, well, do you need me to leave? Like if, you know, if my spouse had gone missing and I truly didn't know where they were, man, I'd be looking under the bed. I'd be like everywhere. And then I'd be like, I wouldn't be like, well, I'm going to go take a walk. You guys do your thing. Like, I'm just like, oh my goodness, Chris Watts. He is a breed of his own. I do tell you that. Let's see. Yeah, and while all this was going on, y'all can really trust the fact that Shanann was in the home. Like, her energy was not leaving. She was like, I'm going to make this so uncomfortable for you, because she knew him and she knew how to get him, right? Like, she knew how. I'm sorry, didn't mean to do that. She knew exactly how to get him to crack. And it was just going to have to be a whole bunch of pressure. And he only stayed in the house that one night. And, you know, he had all that conversation with the mistress and Kay. I won't say her name. She changed her name anyway, but she's a big old crybaby and I don't want her to come after me. And so, yeah, he was on the phone with her and like, someday I'll have to do a whole thing on NK. I can't even get through her whole interview because I'm just like, I get lost in translation. I'm like, okay, what? Wait. Like, I'm like, dude, go back to, okay, so what did you and Chris talk about? Okay, did you guys talk about macaroni? Did you guys talk about like, calories? Like, are you kidding me? You're expecting us to believe that you guys just talked about random stuff. And maybe that was part of Chris Watts's plot, you know, to like have her talk off her head, and, you know, him not being like giving any information, because what's on his mind, I wonder. So yeah, I mean, but I'll have to do a whole thing on her. Shanann, it was very vocal throughout the whole investigation when they were going through the house. She gave lots of eerie paranormal clues, such as the doll that was in the closet. That, I guess it was a doll, allegedly, I don't know. But it was a child's giggle, and it scared the canine unit people, the officers. You know, it scared them. They were like, oh my God. And then it turns out later that voice was left on a voicemail for Chris from Miss NK. And so Shanann was giving all kinds of paranormal signs and trying to get people to like just give off all the clues that she possibly could. Also with the commercial that came on during the when the neighbor was showing the footage to the cop and to Chris, that, hey, there's nothing else except you leaving. And then that commercial comes on with the baby in the womb, and then it turns into like a, you know, an explosion, and then like there's like oil in the skull and all that, and it was just so eerie, right? Like, even when we didn't know what had happened, like that would have been so crazy. But of course we knew what happened before we even got to see that footage, right? But yeah, anyways, you guys, I'm so sorry this went on forever. Thank you guys so much for joining me, hanging out with me for a little bit. You guys rock. You guys rock. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. Have a good day. Enjoy the weather and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. God bless.